Princess Hiccup, written by Matthew Robison, illustrated by Darlene Segura. There once was a princess so full of good cheer that whenever she laughed, the whole kingdom could hear. At the top of her lungs, she would belt "Ho ha ha," and the coldest of hearts would soften and thaw. So strong was her laugh, and such joy did it bring, that fall would skip winter and rush right into spring. Her giggles pranced out from the grin on her face to heal wounds and disease. They fled with no trace. When enemies mustered to pillage and plunder, when their shouts shook the earth as rumbling thunder, the princess, crowned with jewels, would cause them to flee, when her body shook with laughter and her sides split with glee. From far kingdoms came suitors to woo her fair hand, but one look at her beauty, and not one could stand. For strong men, so it seemed, had their knees fail and buckle, when the princess, dressed in white, let out a chuckle. Ho ha ha rang her chorus, ha ho ho she let free. It seemed nothing could shatter peace and prosperity. But in a deep cave, far beyond to the east, the loud cheer dug deep down and woke up a beast. A dragon, fierce and foul, from the ground erupted, for he wasn't too happy to have his nap interrupted. He flew on the wind, blowing fire, casting fear, to challenge the one who smiled sunlight most clear. The princess laughed loud and dared the worm, "Do your worst," but the dragon loosed a growl, and the princess he cursed. No more would she laugh, and no more could she giggle. Her split sides were sewn shut, her smile became brittle, for whenever she tried to guffaw with her might, instead she would hiccup, and her mouth closed up tight. Hiccup, hup up hic, she went day and night, and out of her eyes went all cheer and all light. Cures and solutions were touted and tested. Hope remained strong. The hiccups could be bested. She sucked in her breath till her lungs held no more. She held her breath long till her lungs became sore. She gulped tubs of water, the hiccups to drown. When the hiccups remained, she drank upside down. Into a pink paper bag she sucked in and blew out. It made the princess dizzy, but the hiccups held stout. And they tried to just scare the hiccups away, loud shouts and surprises. Still the hiccups held sway. Hup hup hic they went on, the sound grating the ears, and the princess grew sick, her eyes brimming with tears. This malady most vile, whole kingdoms tried to cure, sharing deepest secrets and magic items most pure. The first harvest of honey from the giant queen bee, magic fruit from the branch of the last silver tree. Fairy dust from beneath the crystalline bridges, the soft touch and slight whisper of unicorn kisses. One by one each was tried, each one a true treasure, but the hiccups kept on to the fullest of measure. Then as lightning truth dawned on all with a brain. To bring back joy and laughter, the dragon must be slain. The king was too old and her brothers too young, but when the task fell to others, each one stilled their tongue. For a dragon who silenced the princess of cheer was a beast strong and deadly, and none dared go near. A lad soon stepped forward, slight of build, young of face, and said he'd slay the worm and the hiccups displace. For the first time in months, the court laughed up a din as they looked on the boy with the stubble-free chin. But the lad stood his ground, and the laughter all ceased, when the princess walked up and kissed both of his cheeks. From his own armory, the king offered hard steel, but the lad turned it down. It had no appeal. So the champion set off with the clothes on his back. No weapon he carried, nor knives in his pack. To the east he traveled, long and far, day and night, when at last the dark cave came into his sight. He charged into the lair, strong and true, brave and quick, and the dragon woke up, bearing teeth long and thick. What knight dares come to challenge me now? What hero can stand against my fire, my growl? The dragon spit flames and hissed, "There is none." But the boy said softly, "I'm a carpenter's son." The dragon saw the lad wielded not but a hammer, and the dragon laughed loud, and then laughed all the louder. The cackles continued as the boy stood his ground. Then off the cave's wall echoed a curious sound. Hiccup came forth from the dragon's long snout. The hiccups kept on, the dragon's eyes brimming with doubt. The boy charged headlong at the hiccuping beast, and the dragon reared up to welcome the feast. But each time it tried to spit death and breathe flame, Hup-Hup-Hic would slip out, and the breath became tame. No flame shot forth from the fearsome hot throat, and the burp of a hiccup was the sole lonely note. So the serpent fled, and in fright tucked his tail, for the hiccups fled with him, and he let out a wail. In her room in the castle, the princess felt light. She wasn't sure why, but it felt oh so right. With a hand to her neck, a soft snicker she made, and no hiccup came out to drench her parade. She then laughed out loud, and the sound carried long. It spread through the kingdom, and crowds burst into song. The lad returned home to pomp, cheers, and acclaim, for laughter filled the land, and joy again did reign. As the lad was crowned prince, the room filled with romance, and the prince and the princess shared their very first dance. Then the prince loosed a laugh, a sound loud, strong, and regal, and all present knew then the princess had found her equal. They danced through the night, each one splitting their side, and by morning the prince had a lovely new bride. Lord of Mirth, Lady Cheer were the names they were called. Their giggles reached the heavens, and their chuckles enthralled. King and queen they were crowned, and they ruled long and true. With grace and high honor, all wrong they did subdue. And everyone near lived happily ever after, for no dragons dare enter the land of full laughter. Thanks for tuning in to this reading of Princess Hiccup. Hopefully it helped occupy your family, your kids, for about 8 minutes or so. When I wrote this book, one of my goals was to write a kid's book that the parents didn't hate after reading it 17 times in a row, and I think I succeeded. Some people seem to think so. The link to buy the book is in the description below, and let me know what you think. Thank you for all your support.